All right, everybody. We have head coach Jerry Mack here for our weekly press conference heading into Merrimack. And coach, if you would, just start us off with a quick statement, kind of recapping Indiana and then heading for our home opener this weekend.
Yeah, tough day. Tough day at the office against Indiana. Some things that we would like to do just didn't come alive on that day. We felt like we did improve in some areas from a standpoint of penalties, and we saw some of our explosive play percentage go up, threw the ball down the field, and sometimes better than we did the previous week. Really impressed with how the offense had no penalties. We talked about that as a point of emphasis all week long, and they did a really good job of doing some of those things. Defensively, we were doing some good things, as the course of the game flowed. I think the reverse for a touchdown, explosive play, kind of put us in a bad situation, and we got to do a better job of overcoming some of those adverse situations as the game progresses. But all in all, we're healthy after that loss, and we're going to move forward and kind of turn our attention now toward Merrimack. First opportunity to have a home game. Really excited about that. My family, our players, their families. I think everybody's just excited to see this new style of Kennesaw football that we're trying to put together. We want to try to make it a great experience and a great day, but not only for our fan base, but also for our students. Got a chance to walk around campus last week, and I thought an event was going on. I saw so many droves of students on campus, but I think the buzz is going in the right direction, and we're excited about getting an opportunity out there to showcase what we can do.
We'll go to questions. And since Kai survived the drive back from Indiana, driving through the night, you get the honor of the first question.
Yeah, Coach Amari played a majority of the snaps at quarterback against Indiana. What did you make out of his performance, and can we expect to see him play some more on Saturday?
Yeah, Amari did some good and some bad. It wasn't all good. It wasn't all bad. The first thing I would say is the way he willed us to some first downs from a standpoint of with his legs. Also, too, he was decisive in some of the throws that he threw. Some of those things that we had planned for him, just knowing where to go with the ball and being able to put it on the money was really impressed with his chance to stand in the pocket and still deliver passes. We all know that he can do great things with his legs, but what he did with his arm was as impressive too. The receivers helped him out. Gabe Binyard and that catch that he made on the sideline, it was one of the best catches I've seen in a long time as well. Just the adjustment more than anything to the ball. But all in all, he still has to continue where his eyes start, progression wise, throughout plays, ball security. We got to continue to talk to him about that. Just protecting the ball and how he gets tackled and pinning that ball to his breastplate. He did have an interception the other day, and that was just on as much as the receiver as it was him, probably more on the receiver, to be honest with you. But there were some things that he did that was really good in the course of the game, and there's some things that he can continue to grow and learn from.
Kai.
Can we expect Dexter to start on Saturday?
Right now, we're still talking. We're going back and forth to see exactly how that's going to pan out. We'll go through the course of the week. Really, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, those are the tough practice days, and we'll try to see, who's going to run out there first. Regardless on whoever runs out there first, we anticipate both of them getting an opportunity to play with the ones.
Stan. Stan, you may be muted.
My wife keeps me muted, so it's well the way I handle it. When you told him he was going in the game, what was his reaction? Because he didn't seem to be overwhelmed or anything by the occasion.
Yeah, we told Amari that was always the intention to play both quarterbacks. We gave Dexter an opportunity to start and play the majority of the game against Wake Forest. We talked to him about, you're still going to start this game, but we also think Amari's deserved and earned the right to go out there and compete and play in that opportunity as well. He was a starter quarterback at his previous school where he came from. So he's played, I think they played at University of South Carolina last year. So he's been on that stage, he's been in that arena before. So, he has a lot of games on his belt where he's been the guy. So that didn't really surprise me that the stage wasn't too much for him. It's our job as coaches more than anything to make sure that we limited the packages and we gave him things that we know he can be successful at. And I thought Coach Mitch did a really good job of making sure the things that, we called at the times that we called him really played more to his skill set.
When you saw him at Wofford, what did you like about him that made him so enticing to join the program?
So the at my former school, his mom was our head women's basketball coach in North Carolina Central. So I've seen him and his brother. They were used to be in my practices when they were probably about 11 or 12 years old, hitting bags. So he also came to our camp when I was at the University of Tennessee, and they came up there. He came up there and did a really good job as far as throwing the ball. We were actually he was on our board at University of Tennessee at a certain time. Then he kind of got hurt in high school, going into his senior year, and that kind of slowed down his recruiting. So I've known about his ability and known about his talents for a very, very long time.
Kai?
Coach, Davis Bryson got in the game, got a carry on a third and short yard play. Could you unpack that play call a little bit? And is Davis in the backfield or out in the slot something we can expect to see more of as the season progresses?
Yeah, Davis is kind of a jack of all trades. That was a situation. We feel like he's a really good runner with the ball in his hand. And to get him in a situation where it was third and short, we tried to play with a little speed, little tempo, tried to do something that was unique and different. So teams we can put on film and people have to prepare for. And they understand, I mean, he can line up in the backfield, he can line up in the slot. Heck, he can play quarterback as well. So there are a lot of different things that he presents that will give defenses fits because you really just don't know exactly what he's coming in the game to actually do. He could be a decoy. He could be a guy that's going to throw a double pass. There's all kind of things that Davis can do. But in that particular play, we have been working at it all week long, give him an opportunity to try to go get us a first down, take a couple of the hits off some of those backs that we had. But it was just a situation where just the cadence part of it, we were probably off sides, to be honest with you. We jumped on the right side of the football a little too soon. And just time on task. Davis has to get used to playing behind his pass and in front of that line. I think the wave of bodies that crossed his face, he just wasn't quite ready for that. Those things are hard to simulate in practice at this point of the season because you just don't want to have that brutality on your players as itself. But I think going forward, there's going to be a ton of situations and opportunities, I should say, that we're going to be able to get Davis in there and do some things that are pretty unique.
Moving on to Merrimack, 2 weeks ago, they really hung in there and just about beat an FBS team in Kent State. How were they able to hang in that game? And just what as a whole jumps out about them?
Those guys play extremely tough and extremely hard. You take a look at both sides of the trenches. That's where everything starts for me as I watch film and evaluate their offensive line and defensive line. Their offensive line does a really good job of coming off the ball, trying to create creases, trying to create gaps. They have a fullback they like to play with, kind of an old school fullback, and he presents another set of issues because he's a physical guy. Defensive line, pad level is one thing you can tell they're stressing because they're getting underneath people, bigger defenders or bigger offenders, and they're finding a way to continue to stay in the backfield and shed blocks and do some things. I do think that, as the game went along at Kent State, they gained more and more confidence. The first half, it was kind of ugly, but as the game continued to progress, you could see those guys understanding that they could play with those guys and they continue to gain confidence as the game continued to weather on. But I do think that quarterback continues to give them an opportunity. He does a really good job of creating and making people miss and finding open receivers and scramble drill. And on the defense side of the ball, they play a lot of man coverage. So between them playing hard on the defensive line and between that tight coverage that they present on the perimeter, it makes it tough at times. And they gave Kent State some fits doing that.
Last thing for me, Coach, what's the most exciting thing about getting to coach at home for the first time?
We're extremely excited to get in front of the fan base, not only just our fans, our local supporters and boosters, but also just our students. We talk all the time about we want to make Fifth Third Stadium one of the most hostile environments to play in Conference USA. And I think on Saturday evening, that's where it all starts. Given an opportunity to be in there, it's going to be a great night. The weather's going to be good. I do think our players are excited about our opportunity to have their first game at home and play in front of the students and the fan base that they've been talking to and they've been getting to know over the last 8, 9 months since I've been here.
Anything else for Coach Mack?
Yeah, Coach, from playing two power conference foes your first two games, what do you hope both sides of your line of scrimmage take away from those experiences going into this game?
I'm excited to see the physicality that we're going to continue to go forward with and play as now the competition it becomes a little bit different. The biggest thing that I've seen is our offensive lines. There were some things that we did on Saturday that were really elite from a standpoint of passing off twists, from a standpoint of getting extra hits on their D linemen. We did some things that, it takes a normal offensive line, probably mid-season or late season form just to get into. But the communication at times that we had up front was really good. On the defensive line side of the ball, you seen Tyler Dunlap the first game, just the way he ran to the ball. This past week, Adam Watkins, the physicality that he came off using hat hands and displacing blockers at times, and Marcus Patterson as well. Those guys did a phenomenal job at times throughout the course of the game, just really controlling the line of scrimmage. I think we got them on a 4th down stop. We stopped them on 4th down 1. That's all a compliment to like what we're doing. Those first 4 guys that we put on the defense side of the ball. So I'm excited to see exactly what that looks like now going forward against some other opponents that are more of in our conference, in our league.
You spoke about communication on the offensive line. Is that centered around a certain position or individual from what you saw Saturday?
It's a collaborative effort. It all starts with the center, obviously, putting us in the right call, Josiah Chenault doing his job. But then after that, those guys have to communicate down the line from a standpoint of the tackle positions because they got to be in conjunction with the guards and kind of communicate to the tight end and what they see. The guards have to be able to point out the adjustments and point out who they're responsible for because that helps the backs identify where they need to start their eyes and if they're going to be able to pick up those guys in protections. So just the communication, the demonstrative language, and the demonstrative hand figures that those guys use are really important to make sure that everybody's on the same page.
And then, coach, your freshman kicker goes 3 for 3, ties the KSU record with a 50-yard field goal. But what does he do to help prepare himself for those moments?
He's really consistent in the building. He's never on any list. He's always engaging. I had him broke down. I had him break down the team today after practice, and the guys went crazy just for him because they just understand like the kind of player he is as a young player, just how consistent he is in his processes throughout the week. And I think everybody respects that about him. And then when he gets an opportunity to go out there and do his thing on Saturdays and hit some through the upright, especially on that kind of stage, it's just, man, everybody's excited to see him do those kind of things. And he has a lot of respect in our building for how he carries himself.
Thank you, Coach Mack.
Thank you.
Anything else for Coach? All right. Thank you, Coach. And thanks everyone for joining. And we'll see everyone this Saturday at Fifth Third.
Appreciate it.